Welcome to our Pub Talk, another episode which will be in English because my guest is Mirza Klimenta from Bosnia. He's a data scientist and worked for BR and now for Pub since last August. Recommendation systems and how they are developed at Pub will be our topic today. Hi Mirza, welcome.
Thank you.
So would you please tell us about your career before you started working here at Pub?
Before I came to Pub, I worked as a data scientist in a company in Sarajevo. Before that, I did my postdoc in Rome at Roma Tre University. And before that, I did my PhD at the field of computer science at the University of Constance here in Germany.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get into public broadcasting?
I was actually interested in the field of recommender systems. So the advertisement, the job in Sarat was basically recommender system data scientist. So this is how I indirectly got into the public broadcasting. But before that, I didn't know anything about Bayerischer Rundfunk or Pub, but it turned out to be one of the best decisions to join you.
Great. Nice to hear that. And speaking of recommendation systems, we want to focus on ARD Audiothek. Mm-hmm. That's your field.
Exactly.
How do you develop these recommendation systems for the Audiothek?
The recommender systems for the Audiothek are taking into account the user item interaction. So we have a number of users that listen daily a number of podcasts. So we basically take the data as input. We process this data based on there are several models that we use. And then for each particular user, we generate a list of recommendations such that we then basically retain the user or engage the user more such that he consumes more of our content.
Mirza, we all know the discussion about filter bubbles and their negative impact. What do we do to take the users out of their comfort zones?
It's a very known problem, so the filter bubbles, but we are very careful with this because it's very hard to take users out of their comfort zones, as you said. So we have metrics that we use to measure the diversity of the content that the user consumes, and we basically do it in our offline or online setting. And there are certain models that we use. For instance, this is the so-called content-to-content recommendations, where we recommend items based on the textual similarity. And these models have the capability to pull the long tail content, so basically to diversify the content that is then recommended to the user. However, we have noticed that it is very hard to pull the users out of the comfort zone.
Because they don't want to?
They don't want to actually, okay. Because there is a very few users who are listening to diverse categories, so like a very broad set of categories. Users are very narrow in their search for items. So we will be developing in the future models that take into account the user habits and slowly take them out of their comfort zones, like not immediately present the very new content, but slowly over time get them out of the comfort zone, little by little.
Interesting. Is this a difference between our company and companies like YouTube, Google?
There is a difference obviously because of the content. I mean, if you look at YouTube, you will see that the content is very broad, and you will see that the way how they approach different channels, how they approach a specific topic can be very contradictory. But our content is pretty much homogeneous, I would say. I mean, compared to YouTube. So this is the difference. But the models that we actually use, so the algorithmic approaches, are pretty much the same. We collaborate with people from Netflix and from Google, and we exchange insights. So they ask us, yeah.
How exactly do you work together with them?
So for instance, Netflix. So we collaborate with one of the main designer and developer of the Netflix recommender systems, and we share insights. Basically, he's developer or basically father of one of the known algorithms, EASE. So. This stands for Embarrassingly Shallow Autoencoder, so acronym reversed. And he is interested in our insights, so he's interested in how we approach the process of testing, how we approach the process of development, how we approach the process of deployment of the models. And we also want to know how they do it actually. So what is the nature of their data, about the connectivity of the data, everything basically, how the ratings, how the spread of the ratings, the statistics and so on. So it's a very open collaboration, and I was pleasantly surprised that it is actually.
Was it surprising for you?
It was very surprising because it's different with different companies. People usually, I mean, if the company is like pretty famous, they then hide their insights.
Maybe Google?
It's part of their contract, so they don't easily share the insights. But with Netflix, it was, at least in this case, it was amazing. So they share their insights, and they contribute to the recommender community. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mirza, my last question would be, why are you so fascinated by recommendation systems?
By recommendation system, I would say that the fascination is more in towards the algorithms. So because I'm a goal-oriented person, so I strategically approach a problem. So I study the territory, I plan everything in advance, I inform myself about everything, and then I make a step-by-step plan of how to conquer something, how to achieve something. And this is what algorithms actually do. So this is a methodological step-by-step procedure which you follow in order to get specific goal. So this is my link to algorithms. This is why I like algorithms, basically. And the recommender systems, why specifically the recommender systems, is because it's for me, it's not that sophisticated mathematics behind, but it can be pretty much sophisticated. And then you see the real world impact. So you basically see the user engagement with the content, like the user, it's 20%, we have like higher click-through rate if we deploy another model. And I feel happy about it because we just implemented another approach, and we see that the users are more engaged with the real content, actually.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your insights. It was a very interesting talk. Thanks a lot that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for watching.